While I was working as a waitress, a woman suddenly asked me a strange question. Are the shoes you're wearing comfortable to run in? Her husband had just gotten up to use the bathroom. Sorry, what? I asked, laughing awkwardly. He pointed at my sneakers. Your shoes. They look like they're good for running. Even sprinting. I looked down. I guess they are. What size are they? I frowned. Size 7. Why? She clasped her hands together like she'd just won the lottery. I'm a size 7 too. First I thought she was joking. Then she leaned closer and lowered her voice. I need to run right now, but I can't run in these heels. I looked down at her shoes. They were covered in diamonds and looked incredibly expensive. Later I learned they were worth around $10,000. Then take your heels off, I whispered. She glanced toward the restaurant windows. Look outside. I did. The parking lot was covered in snow and ice. If I run barefoot, I'll slip. If I run in heels, I'll slip. Either way, he'll catch me. My stomach tightened. Who? My husband. She paused. He told me in the car that he's going to kill me tonight. And I saw what he packed in the trunk. My blood went cold. Call the police, I whispered. He gave me a bitter laugh. Quiet. He's the police. He's been on the force for 15 years. His friends would arrest me before they'd ever help me. Then she grabbed my wrist. Please. I need your shoes. I glanced toward the bathroom hallway. How much time do we have? I think he's taking a dump. Maybe 3 minutes. For max. I took a deep breath. Hey, bathroom. Now. She stood up calmly and walked away like nothing was wrong. About 30 seconds later, I followed her. I found her in the last stall. She had already taken off her heels. I kicked off my sneakers. We silently exchanged shoes. I still wasn't completely sure if her story was true, but I couldn't take the chance that it wasn't. Back door through the kitchen, I whispered. Walk. Don't run. He can see the parking lot from his seat. What about when he comes back? I'll handle it. He grabbed my hands. Tears filled her eyes. I don't even know your name. It doesn't matter. Go. She disappeared around the corner. I took a deep breath, put on her heels, and walked back to the restaurant floor. I could barely walk in them. 1 minute passed. Then 5. Her table was still empty. I kept looking toward the bathroom hallway, expecting her husband to walk out at any moment. 10 minutes passed. Still nothing. My stomach twisted. Did he see her? Did he chase after her? I wanted to check the back door, but I could barely stand in those heels. Then suddenly, bang, the front door flew open. 4 police officers rushed into the restaurant with their hands near their holsters. The entire restaurant went silent. They scanned the room. Then one officer pointed directly at me. That's her. They rushed toward me. Ma'am, put your hands where I can see them. I stared at him. What? Why? Hands. Now. Everyone was watching. Turn around. I slowly turned. A second later, cold metal cuffs were locked around my wrists. You're under arrest. For what? They didn't answer. They simply walked me outside and put me into the back of a squad car. I was wearing a pair of $10,000 heels that I couldn't even afford, and I had absolutely no idea what was happening. The officers drove me to the station. I kept asking questions the entire way. Nobody answered. When we arrived, they walked me through the front entrance in handcuffs. And that's when I saw them. The woman from the restaurant. And standing beside her was her husband. Both of them were also in handcuffs. My stomach dropped. Why were they here? Had the police arrested them too? And why was I involved? An officer took me into a small interrogation room and handcuffed me to a metal table. A detective walked in and slid a photograph of the heels across the table. What do you know about these? I took a breath. A woman at the restaurant gave them to me. She said her husband was going to kill her. She told me he was a cop, so she couldn't call for help. I explained everything. She said she couldn't run across the ice in those heels, so we swapped shoes in the bathroom. I gave her my sneakers so she could escape through the back. She gave me the heels. The detective stared at me. That's everything? That's everything. I swear. He was silent for a moment. Interesting story. It's the truth. He paused. Her story is different. My stomach dropped. Check the restaurant cameras, I pleaded. You'll see everything. The detective studied my face, then walked out. For the next 2 hours, I sat there wondering how my Saturday had turned into the worst day of my life. Eventually, another detective walked in. He unlocked my handcuffs. You're free. I let out a huge sigh of relief. What happened? He sat across from me. The camera footage confirmed your story. I couldn't believe it. But why did you arrest me? He slid my sneakers across the table. 4 hours ago, there was a robbery at Lexington Luxury Mall. $200,000 worth of merchandise was stolen. He continued. While escaping, the criminals spotted a patrol car. They panicked and ducked into your restaurant to blend in. My heart sank. The criminals were the woman who gave you the heels and her husband. I stared at him. They needed someone to take the fall. The detective pointed at my sneakers. So they found you. They invented the story about her husband trying to kill her. They knew you'd feel sorry for her and willingly give her your shoes. Then he looked at the expensive heels. They gave you the stolen evidence, hoping we'd find you wearing them and assume you were one of the robbers. I sat there in disbelief. The woman wasn't running from her husband. She was running from the police. And those $10,000 heels weren't a gift. They were a setup. The scariest part? For a few minutes, I thought I was helping a woman escape a murderer. But she was actually using me to escape a robbery charge. And somehow, my sneakers were the only reason I didn't end up taking the blame for a $200,000 crime.